Hey guys, it's Miss Frey. So today we're going to learn a little bit about pronoun antecedent agreement. So first, let's start with the basics. What is a pronoun? Hopefully this is a review for you because we learned about pronouns at the beginning of the year, but for those of you that forgot, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun, another pronoun, or a group of words that function as a noun. So if we have the two sentences, Janet went to the game with her father and mother, she enjoyed it more than they did, she is the pronoun that replaces the word Janet. It is the pronoun that replaces the word game. And they is the word that replaces father and mother. So there are a few different types of pronouns. The first type is personal pronouns. Things like I, me, you, he, him, she, her. Those refer to people. That's why they're called personal. Then there's reflexive and intensive pronouns. These type of pronouns refer to the subject of the sentence in which it appears. So myself, yourself, himself, herself. Basically, if it ends with self. Next, we have demonstrative pronouns. These indicate whether things are close to you or far away. So if you say, this is hot or these are cold, you're referring to things that are close to you. But if you say, that is hot or those are cold, those are things that are a little bit further away. We have indefinite pronouns, which you should remember from last week's lesson on subject-verb agreement. Indefinite pronouns refer to nouns that aren't specifically identified. So anybody doesn't explain exactly who it is. It's just a general group of people. And then finally, we have interrogative or relative pronouns. These types of pronouns ask a question. So, who just ran past here? Who refers to whoever just ran past here, but because we don't know, it's part of a question. Now let's talk about what an antecedent is. An antecedent is the noun, pronoun, or group of words that the pronoun refers to. So let's look at our sentences here. The first one is, a crowd gathered. They looked out at the sea. They is the pronoun, and it refers to the crowd. The next one is, a boat was inching its way into Jamestown Harbor. Its is the pronoun, and its is replacing the boat. And then finally, losing the barn was frightening. It was an awful experience. This one's a little bit trickier because it actually refers to the entire experience of losing the barn. So losing the barn is the antecedent and it is the pronoun. So let's practice this really quick. Look over these sentences and identify which ones are the pronouns and which ones are the antecedents. You should pause the video right now and write these down in your notes. Did you get them right? So in the first one, her refers to the antecedent Alice. In the second one, it refers to the antecedent book. There refers to the antecedent soldiers. His refers to the antecedent rooster. His or her refers to the antecedent soldier. And his or her refers to the antecedent everyone. Be careful. In the second sentence, there were some other pronouns there, such as you, my, and you again. But those aren't the ones that we were looking for because they didn't refer to an antecedent. So here is the basic rule for pronoun antecedent agreement. A pronoun agrees with its antecedent in gender and in number. So make sure you write this down because this is super important. But we're going to go over what gender and number mean, just so we understand. First, there are 4 different types of genders that a noun can be. So there are some nouns in English that are masculine. Boy, bull, rooster, those are all definitely male things. You can't have a female bull. And there are about the same number of nouns that are feminine. Girl, cow, hen. Hens are always going to be female, so they're always feminine. You'll find masculine and feminine nouns a lot more often in foreign languages. So almost everything in Spanish has a gender, but English is a little bit different. Most of our nouns are actually common gender nouns. That means they can either be masculine or feminine. So for example, child, student, artist, those are all things that could be male or female, depending on what the gender of the child, student, or artist is. There are also a lot of nouns that are neutral, so gender doesn't really apply to them. House, opinion, rock. Rocks don't have genders, so it would be gender neutral. Here are the rules for matching your gender in terms of pronouns. If the noun is masculine, you use a masculine pronoun. So Bobby just lost his bike. Bobby is a boy, so we use the masculine pronoun his. If the noun is feminine, you use a feminine pronoun. Susie just lost her bike. Susie is a girl, so we use the feminine pronoun her. If the noun is common gender, then you use both masculine and feminine pronouns unless you're sure of the gender. So the student just lost his or her bike. Because we don't know if the student is male or female, we have to use his or her. And finally, if the noun is neutral, you use a neutral pronoun. So the robot just lost its bike. The robot isn't a boy or a girl, it's gender neutral. So we use the gender neutral pronoun it. There are also some rules for matching number. So most of the time it's going to be pretty obvious. Is there one of this thing? Then it's singular. Is there more than one of this thing? Then it's plural. But there are some things that are a little bit tricky. So for example, singular indefinite pronouns are referred to by a singular pronoun. So each of the planes kept its place in the formation. Each is a singular indefinite pronoun, so we use the singular pronoun its. Everyone in the club cast his or her vote against the motion. Everyone is a singular indefinite pronoun, so we have to use the singular his or her. Somebody left his or her notebook here. Same as everybody. Somebody is a singular indefinite pronoun, so we have to use the singular his or her. The second rule for matching number is two or more singular antecedents joined by or nor should be referred to by a singular pronoun. So neither Judy nor Corinne has brought her hiking boots with her. Even though there are two subjects, Judy and Corinne, we use nor between them, which means that it should be singular. So we use her instead of their. Either Max or Alex will end up passing his test. Again, we have two subjects, Max and Alex, but because we use or between them, we use the singular his instead of the plural their. The third rule for matching number is two or more antecedents joined by and should be referred to by a plural pronoun. So the captain and the sergeant is the antecedent, and because there's two of them, we know that it's plural, which means that we have to use their instead of his. The teachers and parents shared their opinions equally. We have multiple teachers and parents, so we need their, which is plural. The cats and dogs ran around themselves. There are multiple cats and dogs, so we use themselves instead of the singular itself. All right, so let's practice. Look over these sentences and write the pronoun which would agree with its antecedent. So the first one, after the hike, all of the scouts complained that their feet hurt. Because scouts is plural, there is more than one scout, we have to use the plural their. Either Sousa or Roxy will give her speech first. Because we use or between Sousa and Roxy, we use the singular her. Everyone in the band is responsible for having his or her own uniform cleaned and pressed. Everyone is a singular pronoun, but we don't know if they're male or female, so we use the singular his and her, but we need to use both since we don't know what the gender is. Each police officer did his or her duty. Each is a singular indefinite pronoun, so we need the singular form. And we don't know if the police officers are all male or female, so we use his or her. Each of the girls in the troop has to make her own bed. It's singular because each is used, but we know they're all girls, so we can use the singular feminine form, her. And finally, several of the boys brought their repair manuals. Several means more than one, so we use the plural their. All right, good job getting through them. Have an awesome day.